as we look into the scriptures, continue to teach us that we might grow as your disciples. In Jesus' name, amen. So a number of years ago, I was at a meeting with a bunch of ministers. In that meeting was a guy by the name of Bob Giuliano. He's a United Church minister who was a preaching professor at Huron College at Western University. And he had brought us an article, and he wanted a bunch of us to discuss as ministers about this research a particular Roman Catholic nun had done. Wherever money and technology grew, the willingness for people to join holy orders, to become monks and nuns and priests, declined. But wherever the technology and money was short, there were always lots of people volunteering to serve as God's special people. And she noted that something happens when we have money and technology that allows us to think that we have control of life. Right? Anybody ever played a computer game? Ryan, what's one of your favorite computer games? Age of Empires. Age of Empires. In Age of Empires, Corey, you get to control the entire universe. You get to almost play like God. And so technology and the information that comes in can give us a false sense of us being in control. So I think she's on to something. The reality is, when we do that, we don't develop the disciplines and habits of depending upon the Lord or connecting with each other to support each other. And I think that this is important to understand, because in life, anybody trying to plant crops right now? Are we in control of the weather? My brother called me last Saturday. You heard about the 7 inches that went north of here? So his head golf courses, Forest and Sand Hills and a bunch north of London, he was in charge of. He calls me up and he goes, I'm driving down a gravel road with water coming across it and there's no creek. He goes, we just got 7 inches of rain, all my golf courses are closed, and I'm losing $100,000 a day. Pray that this rain stops, Jim. I was thinking, this is not Joe Lucan asking me to pray for the red weather. That's my brother, no. And so the reality is we're not in charge and we're not in control. And over the last 10 months with Ryan being sick and my own illness, I've realized how much better it is to face these challenges while trusting that there is a God who has a plan. And it is encouraging. And it is encouraging, the words of prayers and encouragement and the support that you receive from other people like you guys have done for us. And when I read this story today, even though I've known it since I was a little kid, it felt different this time because of our situation. Because we really do need each other. Lyle, get the next slide. Yeah, surprise, it's what I'm using today. There's somebody showing up with a casserole for somebody. And we've all done it and talked about it with the kids. And the conversations that happen around providing food for each other is a real sense of connection. I suspect it's a better connection than sending an emoji over Instagram. Did I say it right? Oh, my goodness. Now somebody can explain to me what an emoji is. No. An emoji is one of those little pictogram things that look like pictures where you're either happy or sad, right? There's emojis of poo, right? Yeah. So that's the things you don't like. Anyway, and so the reality is that kind of connection, while it's useful over long distances, it's not the same as talking face to face and being with each other. And throughout history, whenever it came to doing big jobs like farming, you could never do it alone. Most farmers never actually farmed their own farm in isolation with their same age as me and my brothers, and they were mostly all girls. No, we never dated. Though did I maybe cross a couple of our minds a couple of times, but it never happened. Anyway, it's a polite way of saying they said no, right? Anyway, Gord had the what do you call those things? Harvester. The harvester and the tractor to run the harvester. We had the wagons and the blower. And we didn't have to buy all the own equipment. We would fill silo together, and we had enough bodies to drive tractors and make everything happen that way. And it was Gord that when our barn burned and we were short hay, who came to Dad and said, "Hey, I got this extra mow of hay, it hasn't been emptied in a while. Take it and use it. It should be out of there before it rots and isn't any good." And so as I read the Bible story today, it came clear to us that God doesn't intend us to do life without Him and without each other. So the Amalekites came to attack the Israelites, and they went out to battle, as we described. Hit the next slide. And Moses went up on a hill, and he held his staff up in an attitude of prayer. And if you read through the end of the story, it's clear that it's about worshiping God. And when difficult things happen, we need to turn to God. And turning to God is ultimately important because it means we seek God's will and not our own. As our society becomes more secular, people want to do what they want to do when they want to do it. But for us as people of faith, when things happen, our question is not what do I want to do, what does God want us to do? And what's interesting is that when Jesus was in the Garden of Gethsemane, just after the Last Supper, before he gets arrested, he prays, "My Father, if it's possible, may this cup be taken from me, yet not as I will, but as you will." Matthew 26:39. It's about us discerning God's will. So, with me recovering from my atrial fibrillation and putting the stent in, I get to go to a cardiac rehab class, which is really cool. I'm learning lots of neat things. And lots of neat exercises to get me healthy. But what's really interesting was, they talked about how do you guys deal with the fact that you don't have the control or the strength to be able to do things as you used to have. And they talked about creating ways where you can still have control. And I get it, and in some cases that makes a lot of sense. But ultimately, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, as a Christian theologian and Christian minister, yeah, anytime we think we're in control, it's just not real, it's fake. And it's better for us to trust in the Lord who has a plan and be willing to be changeable rather than get angry and bitter because we can't do what we want to do when we want to do it. So I think the story talks about us allowing Jesus to be Lord of our lives. And then it goes on and says, as long as Moses held his arms up, the Israelites were winning. But when he lowered them, when they got tired, the Amalekites were winning. And in this part of the story, it's not about the importance of holding his arms up. I think the meaning of the story is when we focus on and we depend upon God, we have strength that is not our own. And when we have success, we give credit to God and the blessed help that we have. We don't say, "Hey, aren't I great?" Because one of the biggest dangers, according to the Bible, is pride. God opposes the humble and gives grace, opposes the proud and gives grace to the humble. And history is full of such stories. A couple weeks ago, remember I talked about the quartz crisis in the Swiss watch company? After the Second World War, because they were neutral in the Second World War, they had 50% of all the watch business in the world. And then someone decided, instead of using a mechanical mainspring, to use electronics in a quartz. And they had a chance to develop that technology, and they rejected it. They said, "Who wants this? Who needs this? That's silly." But all of a sudden, they lost their 50%. Their 50% of the market. In fact, from 1970 to 83, the number of Swiss watchmakers went from 1,600 down to 600. 1,000 companies went out of business from 1970 to 83. From 1970 to 88, the number of people working in the watch employment business went from 90,000 to 28,000. Basically a third, less than a third of the people. 2/3 of the people stopped having those jobs. And they were not willing to recognize and adapt and change, and so they were left behind. And so the key for us in the cultural shift of secularism that we're dealing with is that it really matters for us to acknowledge God and His will, and then when we have success, to not be proud, but humbly acknowledge God's blessings and help. Last week, Julianne, you had your graduation recital. Hit the next slide. What's interesting is see all the people that participated in that recital. And Julianne traced how music started kind of the family, then the church choir, talked about her teachers, Miss McKay and Ron George from the university who were here, and thanked them. And what's interesting is that Julianne did not do this recital on her own, did she? And that was kind of part of the point. And what's interesting, Janet Gargano, a friend of ours who happened to be, in Italy on vacation with her husband, couldn't make it. So she saw the YouTube video and she posted a message saying it was wonderful to trace the development and all the influences of people that took part. It really takes a village to help us grow and develop. And isn't that true? As the body of Christ, we're to support and encourage each other. And so when I got sick, Christine Jarrett called me this week. Reverend Dr. Christine Jarrett, she's been our anniversary speaker here. She works for EDGE, the United Church's renewal branch to try and revitalize congregations. And she was checking in on me and she said, "So Gio, how are you doing and what are you doing in worship?" And I said, "Well, I've been doing the children's story and the sermon, and different people from the congregation are leading the rest of the worship service." She says, "Great! That's the way it's supposed to happen. And according to the research, if you find congregations where that happens, there's more success of growth and maturity because Christian faith and praying and all this stuff gets learned by doing more than just talking about it." And so she said, "Don't screw it up and take all those jobs back, Jim." So I'm just telling you what she told me. We'll need to have a conversation with the worship committee and board on how we do it. But maybe we should keep doing this. Because I'll tell you, listening to different people lead in prayer and lead in worship and do